One of the features of NeoLoad Web is the ability to run tests via the web browser on available machine resources on my network. Now, in order to do this, I need to have those resources connected to NeoLoad Web. As we can see here, I've got 2 controllers and 2 load generators connected to NeoLoad Web available for test execution. Looking at the details here, I can see I've got a Windows machine and a Linux machine, but my Windows machine, my Windows controller, is actually busy. The reason for that is that it started up and is in use on my Windows box. So if I select Run a Test, one of the first things I need to do here on this screen is actually select the project to run. So I can select the zip project, but at the moment that project doesn't exist. So going back to my NeoLoad installation, I can simply go to the File menu, export one of my projects, and have it available for NeoLoad Web. So I export my project, I give it a suitable name, in this case NeoLoad Web Runtime Demo, and I save my project to the file system somewhere. Once the export is successful, we can click on Finish. And then back into NeoLoad Web, I can select that project and upload it via the web browser. So we select our zip project. I select my project. I click on Open. And my project is uploaded to the NeoLoad Web interface. One thing I can see here is I've got 2 potential scenarios to run. So I'm going to pick a suitable scenario. So I'm going to pick my Jenkins scenario. And then I need to specify the control on which the machine is going to execute. Now you can see here I've only got 1 controller available, even though that 2 are connected, because one of them is busy. So there's 1 controller available, there's 2 load generators available, so I'm going to choose to use both of those machines. I give my results a meaningful name. So again, we're going to rename this to be Runtime Demo. And then finally, the option here is the ability to actually publish results to my collaboration server. So if my NeoLoad instance is configured to point to my team server, for example, when I run this test, my results are going to be returned back into that server as well. So we can see here, test execution is beginning. I'm actually reserving the machines on the network. So I reserve my controller, it's now locked. I reserve my 2 load generator machines, I've now locked those. The next thing I want to do once I've reserved the hardware, if you like, is I need to spin up the controller and send my project across. So my infrastructure started, I found my NeoLoad Web, I found my license, I've loaded my project. The final option now is effectively pressing play. So you can see my test is running, or about to run. It's only going to be a quick 1-minute load test because obviously we're just showing the principle here, but NeoLoad Web has now launched my NeoLoad test. Once the test is up and running, you'll see the same dashboards that we saw in the earlier video. I can see that I've got 10 users on the system. I can see a mix of transactions in terms of response times and requests per second. But because this test was launched via NeoLoad Web, I also have the ability to stop it via the NeoLoad Web interface. Looking at the Logs tab at the end, I also have the historic information about how that test was initiated, if you like. So going back to the Overview tab, as we said, it was only a 1-minute load test, so my test is now completed. But we see here we launched a test via the web browser.